The devs of the First Descendant are going to be releasing a patch really soon, and when it hits, it's going to be a game changer. Let's find out why.
Tux makes it exciting!
You've probably noticed there is a new best Kuiper gold or XP farm hitting the community almost on a daily basis. Well, the latest one is actually crazy, and I've done it. It's doing one of the strategic outposts at the fortress, and they're calling it the Volby run because doing it with this character is most efficient. Basically, the boss stands in the middle, you kick it off, destroy the pods, and just run in a circle with your Volby using her abilities. And as you're doing that, you're killing all these enemies, and the boss just basically ignores you, and you get all sorts of gold and Kuiper, and just as awesome, you're actually getting a lot of mods as well, which you end up crushing for even more Kuiper, and the XP is ridiculous. So I started with Volby at level 1 and I got her to level 40 in under 45 minutes. So it was like a level a minute. You know the community knows about this one because the servers are absolutely breaking over there at the fortress map. The game has been crashing for me like on average every 10 minutes, but man, it paid out. In about an hour or two, I wasn't exactly timing it, but I pulled over 1 million in Kuiper, and it took my gold from like 3 million to over 10 million. I was spending as I was going, so I lost a little bit of track, but it pushed my mastery rank up as well, so super happy about this farm. But here's the deal. You're probably thinking like, hey, I don't want to do this because the devs have been cracking down on people using exploits, and I don't want to get kicked out. That is fair to say, but the devs put out a statement, and I want to cover that with you. First, it's gonna kind of frame the devs' positioning here with the community, but there's a game changer within this comment, and we're gonna be covering that in more depth.
Let's do this!
So let's just look at it from the top. So I wish to share the devs' opinions regarding our recent issue, so-called Volby Run. Volby Run, strategic outpost farming using Volby, is currently taking place at the outpost within the fortress. Was certainly not intended. Due to our systematic mistake, mobs at the fortress outposts have been respawning infinitely, and as a result, the amount of item drops has increased 2 to 3 times higher than that of other popular locations. To maintain our game and to be adored by our players for a long time, we believe that it is wrong to just look on and leave the unbalanced content, which is providing biased rewards. This is true. We've seen this before in other games, like the Division 2. We had one in the Summit game mode called Floor 10, and basically people were just sitting there shooting at one door, spawn killing just to earn XP, and they were doing it for like 8 hours a day. And that's just really not a good way to be enjoying the game. But when the game brings out a system that relies on XP to power level, and the game is sort of stingy on the XP or doesn't have like XP boosters or double XP weekends for free and stuff like that, the community is going to be looking for loot caves and XP farms. And so you want to give the community a way to do this while actually enjoying the content, because it's not fun. This particular Volby run, it's not fun. You're just running in circles over and over and over again, but it is extremely rewarding. So it is worth it, especially if you like working on builds and leveling up your mods, so on and so forth. So he goes on and says, however, as Volby Run became popular very quickly within our community, we assume many players have researched Volby to enjoy the newly discovered content. The current issue has occurred clearly by our own mistake, but we do not wish to suddenly remove it because it has already become a solid content of the First Descendant. How awesome is that? So that question where you're saying, hey, will I get banned for this? No. They know it's there. They're not removing it. They're saying they're going to leave it for the benefit of the community, not for their benefit. He goes on. So we would like to inform you that we're preparing a patch without completely blocking the Fortress Outpost issue and to keep allowing the players to enjoy playing like before. However, at the same time, we will update other farming locations to match the efficiency equivalent to the Fortress Outpost. Have you ever heard a dev say something like that before? Personally, I haven't. And I've made videos on this exact concept. This is data. This is user data. It is telling the devs what we want and need in the game and what we're willing to do for it. It says that the players want XP and they need gold and Kuiper, and they need it so bad they're willing to do a very boring task and run in circles to get loads of it. But again, that doles out the game and could ultimately end up driving players away because they're going to get bored, because they're going to feel the game's too grindy. Doing tasks like this isn't fun. So they're saying that they're going to level up all the outposts. That's crazy. That's smart. The dev says, although we've insisted that no additional patch will be necessary next week, so this is in a few days, we have been preparing a new hotfix prioritized to apply improvements so that we could finalize the week 5 development schedule. The main purpose for patch 1.04 is to reduce the cool time for Voga's strategic outpost and rebalance the locations for collecting void fragments. Also, we're planning to diversify methods for gold supply by enhancing gold efficiency within special operations. So in there is the game changer, and let me explain. I've been covering this game with a fine-tooth comb because Nexon didn't have a great reputation when it comes to microtransactions. And so I really wanted to experience the grind on some of the most elusive items to see how fair they felt, and if those are where the hidden costs lie. I've gotten about 6 or 7 Descendants unlocked. I've done catalysts, I've done activators, and I'm farming the ultimate Viesa as well, and that will close out my research here. But I gotta say, overall, the system seems relatively balanced. It seems fair, it seems rewarding. There are 4 rules any looter shooter must adhere to in order to be considered good. One of those is respecting the player's time. Another one is, does the grind feel rewarding and fair? And that's what we're gonna focus on in this discussion as it relates to this so-called game changer. So he says the patch is gonna reduce the cooltime for the Voga strategic outpost. Wow, this has been something the entire community has been complaining about. There's a 5-minute cooldown on the outposts, and you can bypass it a little bit sometimes, maybe if you fast travel to another outpost and then come back, but it doesn't always work, and there's some fails if you're using Sharon. You do need Sharon to hack the terminals. It's really annoying because the most consistent way to defeat it requires the players to spend 5 minutes just staring at each other. And these are required to get a lot of things like transcendent mods, patterns, and some very exclusive resources. And so the end game requires you to spend a lot of time at these outposts, a variety of them. And the fight is swift. You can clear them in a minute or 2, maybe even seconds, depending. But what you're looking for is tied to RNG, and you can't just go right back in. You have to sit there and wait for 5 minutes. It's just, what? It's breaking that rule, respecting the player's time. It's not a respect of the player's time. Not playing, we're just standing there, is a waste of our time. So what ends up happening is that you get these patterns, and then you have to go fight a Colossi or go fight the bosses at a Void Reactor, which is great, which is fine, but you're fighting RNG over there too. And the chances of what you're looking for are very low, especially for the ultimates, which are like 3 to 6%. And RNG is what it is. These should be tough grinds because they are the ultimates. I get it. But so when you go back to reform your material, your patterns, you end up standing there for 5 minutes, and it just makes it very inefficient. So this change is gonna absolutely revamp that process, the process of farming for patterns. A lot of your patterns are gonna be at these void outposts, but ultimately it's gonna make that RNG feel not so bad. It is what it is. It's not fantastic. I realize it's not 50%. And I do have problems with some of that RNG because I'm going in there and cracking open these patterns and I keep getting the same thing. It's like, what are the odds of that to get the same thing? It's like the chances of getting the same item over and over and over again are too good. Keep in mind, they're not things I'm looking for, but it just doesn't seem right when you keep getting the same item, even if it's at a 20% chance when you're cracking open these things. So I keep getting like these weapon blueprints over and over and over again. And they're at a 20% chance. So that's high. I get that. But then when you're actually farming for somebody or something, a pattern that has a 20% chance, then you don't get it over and over again. It takes you like 13, 12, 11 runs and then you finally get it. So it's like, what? How's that working? 2 items that both have a 20% chance, 1 item that I'm not looking for constantly drops, and another item that I'm actually farming for never drops. And so it's sort of, I don't know, there's something weird there. But the other thing is, so you got layers of RNG. You got RNG to get the pattern to drop. You got RNG to get it to drop from a boss or a Colossi. And then you have these void fragments, but they are rebalancing the locations for collecting void fragments. Void fragments, if you didn't know, are required to access the reactors. You get them from certain locations and it's a very redundant task. Again, it's basically running in circles. They need to spread it out so we're getting those shards from different places, maybe even the same outposts that we're farming for the actual patterns. So that way we could just go straight to the reactor and fight those bosses. So at this stage, I wouldn't encourage anybody to continue farming their ultimates or anything that heavily relies on reactors, which is basically everything, because when this patch hits, it's going to be so much better. So they're going to reduce the cool time of the Volga strategic outpost. Right now it's 5 minutes. What do you think it should be? It doesn't sound like they're going to eliminate it altogether. For me, I would say it needs to be 2 minutes or faster. I don't mind a 2-minute cooldown time because you need your skills to cool down, and because of how small our stash space is, you can use that time to clean up so that you're getting resources from your crushed items as well. And from time to time, you're going to be rewarded with those patterns, and then you're going to take those to the void reactor, which is right next door. You're going to fight that. You're going to win or you're not going to win. You're going to get your drop or you're not going to get your drop. And then when you head back, the outpost will be ready for you. So 2 minutes, if that's what it ends up being, won't be that bad. But 1 minute, yes, would be the ultimate awesome cool time I would like to see. So what do you guys think about the devs' position and how they're interpreting the players' feedback and applying it to the game, and their responsiveness, how fast they're doing it? And finally, what do you think that cooldown should be? Thank you for hanging out with me. My name is Tuxedo Bandido. That's Tito Bandido. So helpful, subscribe, like, and this was another episode of The First Descendant. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The First Descendant. And if you like videos like this, check out the one I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy or download anything for The First Descendant, be sure to use Tux's creator code to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.
I get it.